Welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. If this information interests you, please press the like and subscribe button and press the bell for notifications. Well, here we are again, doing another video on Search for Signs. It is December the 4th, and I hope you're having a great day wherever you are and whenever you happen to be listening to this video. If this is your first time ever listening to Search for Signs, of course I want to welcome and thank you. We have over 300 videos where we talk about the emergence of Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom. We talk in greater depth about who and what Maitreya is and why are the Masters returning now to the everyday world during this historical time. We also look at the many miracle signs that have been going on for decades all around the world in all walks of life, to the religious and the non-religious. And we really ask the question, is there a link between all these miracles? And is it pointing to the fact that the one awaited by all the world's religions, Maitreya, is already here, living in a modern city, and has been for over 40 years? Or not, right? Now, it's not so important to look at Maitreya for who and what we believe him to be. The Christ for the Christians, the Imam Mahdi for the Muslims, the Messiah for the Jews, the Kalki Avatar for the Hindus, and the fifth Buddha, Maitreya Buddha for the Buddhist, or a world teacher for those of no faith. It's not as important to look at it from that standpoint. The most important thing to do is to look at what is Maitreya's biggest priority for humanity at this moment in time. Maitreya says that humanity, above anything else, must create true and lasting peace. If we do not do that, our future is in jeopardy. He says, but the path to peace is quite simple. Without sharing, there could be no justice. Without justice, there could be no peace. Without peace, there could be no future for humanity. So that's the most important thing that we talk about on this channel. And if you don't listen to anything else on this channel, that's the most important thing to take away from it. So hopefully that helps. Now, if you have any questions about what we talk about here, simply post your question as a comment. You can also email me at searchforsigns@mail.com. That's the other way of doing it. And then I try to answer the question in the next video. And this video is no exception because I have several questions I need to cover. So let's get on into the questions before it gets too late. All right. First question. What sources would you recommend my reading to learn the basics about Maitreya? And even if you asked that question before, Robert, I have no problem with you asking it again because it's an important question, because it's always important for every one of us to do our own research on anything, really, but to do our own research with this, to discover the truth about it for ourselves or not, and not just take my word for it. So I do appreciate that. Within the description of every one of these videos are links. Except for the video I put up, Share the World's Resources. They're not in that video description. But in every other video, they are. I'm not a spokesperson for Share International, but I have no problem referring you to that site. Because that site, it might be dated. It might not function very well. But in terms of the information and the basics about Maitreya, it is the cat's meow, as they say. I would recommend listening to or watching the videos that they have put up where Benjamin Creme's, maybe his lectures that he's giving and so forth over the years, his television interviews, his press conferences, listen to some of the radio interviews that he gave and so forth, and that can help give you some basic information too. I don't think you could really hear about this information in a better way than through Benjamin Creme. So now, if you're more of a want to read a book kind of person, out of all the books that I've read from Benjamin Creme, and I've read them all hundreds of times, if somebody asked me what book would I pick if I could only pick one, I would pick Maitreya's Mission Volume 2. So you can get it on Amazon. You can also get it through the Share International group and that kind of thing. But it is a wonderful book. It's not too dated, but it is kind of dated, but it's not too dated. But it also, I think, brings you up to date on a lot of what we talk about here better than anything could. And if you read Maitreya's Mission Volume 2, and then you could go off to some of the other books that he has published and so forth over the years, I think it gives you a good foundation for that. So hopefully that helps. But you really can't go wrong with any of his books, really, to be honest. So if you wanted to choose another one because you like the cover of the book better and you're one of those that judge a book by its cover kind of person, then by all means pick any of those books. Now there's also different links for different things that I have in other videos, and through the, over time as I find and discover more useful websites, I'll of course refer you to those. I think you know about the Lucis Trust. There's also the Lucis Trust link in there where you can read some of the books online through Lucis Trust and that kind of thing. So hopefully that helps. All right, now the next question says, December 21st, 2020 marks the end of the age of Pisces and the beginning of the age of Aquarius. Some say Maitreya's rule will be the age of Aquarius. Is there a connection? Will Maitreya possibly be revealed on December 21st, 2020? So, the first question, is there a connection? None whatsoever. And I'm going to explain why in greater detail. But I do want to kind of clear up a couple things about this. That if I don't want it to fester into fact in people's minds. Maitreya will never rule anything. He's a teacher, and a teacher in the broadest sense. He doesn't even want to be referred to as the names that he's known as, the Christ, the Imam Mahdi, the Messiah, the fifth Buddha, Maitreya Buddha. He just wants to be known as the teacher. So don't look for him to rule anything. Now, he will be the world teacher for the age of Aquarius, if that's what you meant, but that's quite different than saying his rule. So anyway, hopefully that helps. And the other thing is him being revealed on December 21st, 2020. Maitreya is not going to be revealed. Now, he will eventually declare himself as Maitreya, and he will declare himself as the one awaited by all the world's religions, maybe, or, the name Christ or the name Mahdi are the names that people look to him as or something, but he won't even claim those names, really. Now, him being on TV right now, and for as long as he's been on TV, he's using another name. And so he doesn't obviously look like the pictures that the Share International websites put out over the years. He doesn't look like that, or people would be able to see it. And it's been said over the years by Benjamin Creme that he will eventually be asked by people, whether it's just an ordinary person or somebody in the media maybe, are you Maitreya, the one that Benjamin Creme was talking about? Or are you the Christ? If he's talking to the Muslims, a Muslim audience, are you the Imam Mahdi? I've heard that you might possibly be the Imam Mahdi come back or something like that, right? That he will not confirm it nor deny it up until the day of declaration. And so there was a scandal quite, amongst the Share International group and amongst certain people in the media back when Benjamin Creme made the announcement that Maitreya was on TV, that they thought that there was this guy named Raj Patel. And Raj Patel quickly came out and denied it. So Maitreya is not going to deny it in that way. So if he is ever asked that question, he will find a way to neither answer yes or no. And yet not be misleading, but yet not tell the truth of who he really is. So the fact that December 21st is 17 days from now, I think it will look more like this, is that Maitreya will eventually start to be more and more recognized as being something other than an ordinary person, the way that he's been presenting himself. More so energetically by who and what he really is. So even when he's speaking about the sense of urgency, that if we do not create, justice, there won't be peace, which could jeopardize our future. Or if we don't start solving the ecological problem, we are going to destroy ourselves, right? He won't be coming from a space of fear. And so that's one thing. But yet he'll be speaking the truth about it and the sense of urgency about it. And so it will resonate with people in a way differently than it would be if he was an ordinary person who was quite concerned and very fearful about the future. He'll be speaking very relaxed, but without any pretense or any fear or nothing, but yet speaking the truth. He'll engage people in a way that we've never seen before from somebody. really, because he is the Lord of love. We'll experience the love of what he's saying in a heart-to-heart kind of way, when he really starts to really lift his head above the horizon, for lack of a better word. And people start to maybe that is who Benjamin Creme was talking about, or so forth. But there will be a crescendo of interest into who he is as a person, but more importantly, what he's saying on TV and the solutions that he's going to be presenting to our problems and so forth, and how simple they are, and how sane they seem, and how commonsensical they are, and why hasn't anybody been talking about this before, and that kind of thing. And a lot of it will be coming from the fact that we all know the truth in our own hearts, really, that we are one, that we are, one family, that we should have justice for all, that there should be peace, that we should end hunger. We've known this our whole lives, and yet we've denied it to ourselves intellectually because our world leaders say that it's not important. So when he speaks that to us, he's going to be reminding us of what we've always thought in our own hearts. Nothing foreign from that. So I don't think there'll be anything that he says that you will go, wow, I never once thought that to be true. You know what I'm saying? It'll be, wow, I thought that all along. Now somebody's finally saying it on TV, and they're saying it in a way that they are speaking for me, right? And he will start to galvanize and inspire humanity to make these changes. So this is where it comes into the day of declaration that I want to bring this up, okay? So, and where I don't think a week and a few days is enough time. Hopefully, it would be great if it was, but I don't think it is. There'll be this crescendo of interest with him. He'll go viral, to put it in modern terms, right? And we as a humanity will demand from our media representatives, the NBC, CNN, ABC, CBS, Fox News, maybe, I don't know, Al Jazeera, the BBC, on and on and on, whatever country we're living in, we will demand, by whatever name Maitreya is using, an opportunity to speak to us. And it's been said by these masters that the satellites that we have, the communication satellites, the TV satellites and so forth that are already in place, are in place for this very reason. They were invented and shot up into space for this very reason. Most of us would think, especially in the United States, that they were put up there for sporting events, right? So we know what's going on with the World Cup, we know what's going on with the Super Bowl and so forth, or whatever, right? Entertainment, news. That's not why they were there. They were there for this one event. And it's going to be a day like no other, and has never been and never will be. But when enough people are interested in what he's saying, and we demand from our news media that him give a chance to speak, he will come to the podium and he will start to speak to us, but he will not say a word through the microphone. We will hear it telepathically in our own heads, in our own language. Maitreya's love will sweep out in tremendous potencies, and it will be as if he embraces all of us, it's been said that we will even feel it physically. There will be hundreds and hundreds of thousands, maybe millions upon millions of miraculous cures all around the world. People who had no hope of ever surviving this illness that they have will all of a sudden just be brought to health, maybe even better than they were before they were sick. And then, and only then, will he start to really show us, in a vision, really, our future, the two futures that we have a choice to choose from. Either we accept the principle of sharing and the future that will give us, or we refuse to share and the future that gives us. We'll see it. He'll describe it. He'll describe the history that where we started, where we are now, and where we can go to, right? And then and only then will he declare himself as Maitreya. So hopefully that helps. Now, the other thing I want to mention in terms of the question that you asked about December 21st, 2020, marking the end of the age of Pisces and the beginning of the age of Aquarius. Okay, so I'll give you a little cheat sheet. What I've learned over the years that will save you a lot of time and effort. There is not one thing in cosmos that starts on a day or ends on a day. And so what it is the age, what's referred to as an age, right? The cosmic age. That happens and occurs when our solar system and our sun goes around an orbit all throughout cosmos and goes out from one influence or out of alignment with one constellation and goes into an alignment with another. So energetically, because everything in life is energy, when our sun is under that alignment with that constellation, it becomes under the influence of their energy of that constellation, whatever the quality of that constellation is. Over the last 2,000 years, we have been under the influence of the energy of Pisces, which brought a very strong and potent individuality to humanity. If we were to think back 2,000 or so years ago, before the start of the age of Pisces, thoughts like, I think, therefore I am, be the best, be yourself, be your own person, whatever it is, those thoughts didn't even occur to humanity at the time. They didn't even think that they were even possibilities. We had much more of a herd mentality about things. So the qualities of Pisces have served their purpose. We've taken a very low approach to those energies, but it's also brought us to the point where that individuality, that potent individuality, could destroy us at any moment. That's the danger in it, right? The structures that were built over the last 2,000 years, right? More and more because of the light of that energy, creating more of a potent personality, of course, created structures, political, economic, social structures that served the individual at the expense of the whole. And those individuals, and the more individual you are, and the stronger your individuality is, and the more potent it is, so forth, you become more of the elite at the expense of the whole, right? So the structures don't serve the needs of all the people. So that's where we've been at for the last 2,000 years. Now, according to the masters, the light of Aquarius, the energies of Aquarius, started to come in and impact our sun in our solar system around 1475. So it's been quite a bit of time. And as the years progressed, ever since then to now, more and more energies of Aquarius have been coming into our solar system, to where now roughly half of humanity is still mainly, to the most part, influenced by the energies of Pisces, and the other half is roughly, mainly, to the most part, being influenced by these more progressive energies of Aquarius, which are in total contrary to the energies of Pisces, where you have the individual being the most important thing under the energies of Pisces. The group is more important under the light of Aquarius. Synthesis, brotherhood, oneness, cooperation. Those are all, from the conservative Piscean look, is nonsense. Those are just terms that mean nothing to them, right? So let's look at today, right? Our political and economic structures serve the elite at the expense of many, right? There's thousands of people that die of hunger every day. Just the fact that we're living in a world with a pandemic, and, we have record-breaking deaths here in the country and around the world every single day. We live such separate and unrelated lives from other people that doesn't affect us until it affects us. You know what I'm saying? So that's the life that we're at right now, right? That's the wrong use of the Piscean energy. Even our healthcare, for instance. This is another example. Our healthcare, right, is just still built under the light of the Piscean energy. If you have money, if you have a lot of money, you can have great health care, right? If you do not have money or do not have insurance, well, of course, you're shit out of luck. And a lot of times, even if you have insurance, but you don't have enough money for the deductible, you're shit out of luck, right? So, and that's okay to those people who see life like that, right? Now, then you have people who are starting to become more and more influenced under this new light. And they ask questions like, why not have health care for everybody? And it's a very foreign idea for those people who are very conservative and reactionary and are still holding on as much as they can to the way life is under the edge of energies of Pisces. It's very, very foreign for them to even see the possibility of that, of the other side. That why would you, basic income for people, why would we do that? That will cause hyperinflation. But yet I still want trillions of dollars for my corporation, and my company and those kind of things. So, it's okay for us to take $1 trillion for our company, our corporations, and us to skim out a few billion for ourselves. It's okay for the United States to bail out the banks, and then those banks turn around and buy other banks. I mean, it's insane, right? For most of us who are starting to see that money should be there for everybody, not just for the ultra rich that already have too much money as it is, right? But yet those people on the other side that are still holding on to the system, even if the system isn't helping them at all, they still are holding on to it out of fear, because that's all they know, right? So to think that the energies or the age of Aquarius or the age of Pisces it's like turning off a light and turning on another light. It just doesn't work like that. So it might even be, another 300 or 400 or 500 years from now before 100% of that energy of Pisces is totally gone. It'll always, throughout our life, it will always be there for us, kind of as a residue almost for the way of thinking. But it will help, I think, this go around, because we'll have the masters and Maitreya to look to as our examples of how to live more in line with the energies of Aquarius and so forth, but also how to live more as souls, really. So it'll help us, so that way it might look a little different, but yet those energies are still kind of there. But it's not just going to end on December 21st. I wish it was that simple, because it would make our lives a whole lot easier in 17 days, but nope. The other thing too is, there are two great avatars that are working through Maitreya, overshadowing him in almost the exact same way that Maitreya worked through the then disciple Jesus 2,000 years ago, or as the Buddha worked through the Gautama Buddha. And one's name is the Spirit of Peace and Equilibrium, and the other one is the Avatar of Synthesis. Both avatars are not even able to live in this solar system. They're so advanced. But a bit of their consciousness is working through Maitreya at this time. But that bit of consciousness is massive in terms of the effect that it's having on humanity. The one in particular, the Spirit of Peace and Equilibrium, his energy works through the law of cause and effect, which is equal and opposite reaction. Most in the West talk about the law of karma, and they usually say when somebody does something bad, oh, karma's going to get you, right? That kind of thing. It's a law, like taking a ball and throwing it against the wall, and if the ball has a good spring to it, right, it's going to hit that wall and come back in the exact proportion in which you threw it, right? That's the way the law of cause and effect works. So this energy from this avatar works through Maitreya through that law. So the divisions that we're seeing in the world between the right and left politics, between the economic developed worlds and the undeveloped worlds, between right and left thinking and so forth. I mean, it just, the divisions go on and on and on between the capitalist and the ecologist and so forth. That's a direct result of this energy. But it's going to swing back the other way in equal and opposite proportion quite rapidly. That's why the masters are allowing it to play out like this, and they'll let it play out as long as it doesn't totally rip everything apart. So it will swing back so fast that it's not going to be a linear progression toward peace. It's going to be amazing how fast it takes place, how fast the principle of sharing takes hold over the minds of humanity, how fast we start to see ourselves as one compared to where we are today, as divided as we are, and so forth. So that's really, I think historically, when we look back at this time, what we'll see is it'll be a lot like toward the end of the 80s when the Cold War ended, when the Berlin Wall came down, how fast that happened. So hopefully that helps. All right. Now, the next couple questions. You talk about the signs. What are these signs? Well, the signs could be anything from weeping icons to crosses of light in homes to crop circles, UFO sightings, angel sightings, personal experiences from these masters like I've had and thousands of other people have had. And yes, I've had them myself. I've had many Maitreya experiences. I've seen UFOs. I've seen the crosses of light. One miracle you can see for yourself if you go to the Share International website and go to page where they talk about the hand of Maitreya that appeared on a mirror in Barcelona, Spain. That's a miracle you don't even have to travel to go see. You can just see an image of it and experience the benefits of that miracle. So hopefully that helps. And it says, are UFO a part of the science? Absolutely. The space brothers from the higher planets are here. They've been here helping us for eons and eons. And in time, Maitreya will introduce them and let us know that they're here. They've been beneficial and they're not here to take us over. They're our brothers, our elder brothers and sisters, and have been helping to clean the environment up and keep life livable on this planet and so forth. And they have nothing to fear from them and that kind of thing. Are visions and messages from the Blessed Virgin Mary real? Well, it depends on whether they're hopeful or fearful. If they're hopeful, they are coming from the master who was the Madonna. If they're fearful, they're coming from the person's own fearful subconscious. So the master who was the Madonna is a great master in our hierarchy and will eventually incarnate in physical form several hundred years from now, I think, and will be the first female master to come out. And then will eventually be followed by other masters that will become more and more female. So right now they're all male. They're not misogynist. It's an energetic reason why. But in the future, there will be more and more female masters and so forth. All right. And then the last question. I listened to the short videos about the Ascended Masters. Can you talk more about some of the ones you talked about? In particular, Master Moria, DK, Kudhumi, Jesus, and what will they do in the future? Okay. They all have different roles to play. I mean, every master takes a portion of the plan and it's their job to kind of see that it gets done, right? Moria, the Master DK, the Master Kudhumi, and even the Master Jesus I think will have more of a teaching role in the future. The Master Kudhumi, one of his main jobs over the coming time will be to awaken the hearts of all humanity. How cool is that? Jesus, of course, will eventually head the Christian churches. I don't know if it'll be right away or not or whatever, but he will, of course, be one of the masters that Maitreya will introduce probably within a little bit of time after the Day of Declaration. The Master Jesus knows the truth. He knows that he's not the only true Son of God. And, of course, I think one of the first illusions and distortions in the Bible that he will probably set right is the fact that he is not the only true Son of God, that we're all divine, right? But eventually, he will help clean up a lot of the distortions in the Bible and bring them truer to what the teachings were of Jesus 2,000 years ago and so forth. So, and of course, there will be people that will think that he's Jesus, and other ones will think that he's the Antichrist henchman. You know, it's just, it'll take others longer to trust the Master Jesus than others. But the Master Jesus said to a friend of mine one time that he said his most ardent followers will be the last to hold hands. So that is for sure. They see life rather differently. And then other masters like the Master Rakuzi, who was Saint Germain or Francis Bacon or Roger Bacon, he will be working more with governments around the world. There'll be a master that will be in the United Nations, that will work in the department within the United Nations that heads up and maintains the principle of sharing. There'll be other masters that will be working directly with the beautification of our cities. Others will be working with the free interchanges of people and that kind of thing. So it just depends. And then there's masters in certain cities, and I guess, we'll have to figure out what their role is in the future. But there's a master in New York now. There's a master in London, one in Geneva, one in Darjeeling, one in Tokyo. There's one in Moscow. Master Jesus is in Rome. According to Benjamin Creme's master, there's two more in the United States, one in San Francisco and one in LA, so they'll be working with groups in that area for some service of some kind, of course. And of course, Maitreya will be seen and will be a central part in all our lives and humanity's life for the next 2,000 or so years, teaching humanity, bringing us to the fact that we are one and so forth. So hopefully that helps. But all right, well, anyway, it's getting a little long-winded, but I thank everybody that asked questions, and of course invite all the questions that you want to ask in the future. And thanks again. Have a great day. Take action and help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos.